What is up, internet? How is it going? It is Friday. What is today's date? August 16th, day number 32 inside the Big Brother house. We are live here. If you don't know, every Friday we go live for our updates. You're going to get the same update you are used to every day of the week, but afterwards we get to chat and talk about what went down. What a wild eviction we had last night. Full on Blindside. Then the endurance comp for HOH, the wall competition. Who won? Let's talk about it. Plus all the intel, drama, and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video? Hit that like button. Hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. I see the chat popping off right there. I'm probably going to be ignoring you guys for a little bit here once we get through everything we need to get to, because it is a lot. First off, pre-show live feeds. Before the episode even aired, there was not a decision on what the vote was going to be. Decor and Chemo went to bed before they even figured out. They were like, are we going to keep Rubina? Are we going to vote Cedric? What's going to happen here if that's the situation? It did feel like MJ was always going to be the one who was going to be voted out if she was on the block. But there was even consideration where they were like, hey, you know what? Why don't we just kind of blow it up now? If it's MJ versus Cedric, why don't we just send Cedric out and align with Tucker? Because Tucker was kind of talking about it. He's like, why don't we just do this? So there was potential that even if Cedric was on the block with MJ, he was still going to be going home. So we were really just not sure what was going to happen going into the episode. We saw a conversation with Joseph where Decor and Chemo kind of went over like, hey, like maybe we flip. Joseph kind of at the end was like, yeah, you know what? I'm with you guys. If you guys want to do this, I'm down. There was also something about an ultimatum, and I don't know if we'll see more of that on Sunday's episode, because Sunday's episode is going to be really good. There's going to be a lot of stuff we did not catch during the episode that we did not catch during outages of the feeds. I think Sunday's episode is going to be just as good as that eviction episode was. And there was something about some kind of ultimatum that Chemo was very offended about. And I don't know if this was him dropping hits to Brooklyn, dropping hits to Chelsea, maybe even to Quinn, about the vote not going the way it was supposed to and not getting a very good response back from that. But with how wishy-washy they had been about their decisions, I didn't know what to trust. So going into the episode, I truly did not know whether or not this was going to happen. On the episode, we saw some recaps, nothing we didn't really know about. It was all about getting to that AI arena. It's like we said, if MJ won, it was going to be really close between Rubina and Cedric. The AI arena too was actually really cool. I think they've also done a similar twist on the ball rolling ramp things where you had to land it in the middle. It might have been BB Can that did a comp like this. I remember seeing something similar to this set up before, but I can't put my finger on when exactly it was. But it was a very cool competition. You had to roll the balls up onto kind of the middle platform. Once you got 5 of your balls there, you had to then take your smaller balls and smack them balls off. Lots of ball smacking was going on in this competition. And it was close the entire time. MJ had a lead at one point. Rubina got a lead at one point. It seemed like MJ kind of came back a little bit. Cedric started to get some balls on there. He ended up getting, I think, only 4 of his balls on there. I don't know if he ever even started throwing to get his balls off. We then thought, Rubina's got this in the bag. She was running to hit her button. It's all we saw. Only for MJ, seconds before Rubina, to smash the button. It was crazy how close that competition was. And I was on the edge of my seat for the entire thing, because knowing how important the outcome could potentially be, especially if Cedric won, we weren't going to get to see some fireworks. And the fact that Cedric lost meant that we were in for an exciting thing here, especially that MJ won. Because again, like we said, if Rubina had won, there's a chance that MJ would have been kept over Cedric. And I kind of want to see the alternate universe where that happens too, because that's probably even crazier of a blow up, because they would never expect them to vote to keep MJ over Cedric. But I do think overall maybe that one had way less of a chance of going through than Rubina versus Cedric. Now, once we got into the vote, this was actually the first time with the AI Arena that we've actually seen a scramble for the votes. They've been hoping and praying that this would end up being some kind of like double eviction episode where everybody's running around scrambling for votes, trying to figure out what's going on. We never got that with all of the other evictions so far. But finally, we had that with this just mad scramble to try and figure out like where the votes were. Cedric, I think, could feel it, right? And I don't know if that is him just getting the nervous vibes, or like I said, with that ultimatum that Chemo mentioned earlier before the episode, maybe that had something to do with Cedric getting the vibe, right? Maybe they tipped off Chelsea, or maybe they tipped off Brooklyn. That got to Cedric. Not 100% sure, but he was definitely in like, hey, let me lock in my votes here because I'm a little bit worried right now. So they're doing their thing, and there's some confusion on how this all went down because we couldn't really hear everything on the episode. Like I said, it was kind of like a double eviction episode where you get little snippets here and there. I still, during this scramble, just off the body language, I could not tell what was going to happen. It felt like Rubina was going to actually be evicted. We saw Brooklyn actually saying goodbye to Rubina. She said, I'm so sorry, and she was going to vote her out. Then we saw Chelsea and Decor kind of having a conversation, and Decor was just kind of shaking her head. And I was like, I think Chelsea's convincing her not to do it. I don't think they're going to go through with this. And even during the episode, as we were watching it last night on the watch party, if you guys are new here, we do live eviction watch parties every Thursday. It's a lot of fun. You should come on and check them out. And I honestly did not know what the vote was going to be until they actually made their votes. Chemo, Decor, both go and flip. We even get Joseph, who flips. It ends up being a 6-3 vote for Cedric to leave the game. The only ones voting for him to stay, Chelsea, Brooklyn, and Cam. Brooklyn, who literally just said goodbye to Rubina, is now shocked that Cedric is walking out the door. It was crazy. Now, a couple of other things before we get into what happened on the live feeds after the episode. AI Instigator was announced. It's going to be kind of a week-long vote where you can vote for who you want to get this power of the AI Instigator. They get to spread misinformation with AI houseguests and kind of make, random things up about what's going on. It's silly. It's pointless. If they do a good job, apparently they get a bigger prize of some sort, probably money of amount, right? We probably get the vote on how well they did, and if they did really well, they get more and more money, whatever it is. This was actually going to be part of Quinn's power. This was announced as part of the deepfake HOH. The problem was, since Quinn didn't keep it a secret, it would be really pointless for him just to be like a puppet master of an AI Angela when everybody knows Quinn is the one with his hand in the puppet just making it talk. This also is going to be pointless, right? They're going to know it's not the person who is the AI saying it, right? So whatever they say, they're going to not really take it seriously. But also, it's just not going to be anything that's useful at all, right? Like, it just feels like this is kind of a waste of time. Like, it could be funny. Like, that's the best thing we're going to see, is it could be funny. I just don't see anything that this instigator power can do that would actually cause an effect in the game. Here's actually a question, and it's actually a good thing that we're doing this one live, because I actually don't have an answer to this. Jessica coming on in. Thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. Guess what? You don't know this, but because you hit that subscribe button, we now have a secret alliance with each other. Now, you may hear some things from people in chat saying, hey, I got a secret alliance with you. What are you talking about? Don't believe them. Don't believe them. Jessica, I didn't just have to look and remember your name. Jessica, we're going to the final two, me and you. So this is actually a time where I think I need a little bit of your help here, chat. I didn't hear it, and I haven't seen anything else contradicting it. Is the AI arena over or not? Julie, I don't think mentioned it at all on the episode. I haven't seen anything else about it mentioned. There is a possibility that AI Arena is still active right now, so Tucker will have to nominate. Might have said something a little earlier. Someone, you don't know who yet. Someone might have to nominate 3 people. That HOH, who knows who it could be? It could be anyone. It's not Cedric. We know it's not Cedric. So I actually don't know if it is on or not. Nominations will be today on the live feed, so we'll get actual confirmation if 3 people are up on the block or 2 people up on the block. But either way, I'm not 100% sure if it's gone or not. We all just kind of assumed it would end. But for the most part, I feel like they would have said something, right? Like Julie would have said something on the episode. So I'm just kind of looking in chat real quick here. I think AI is still on. Nothing was said. Hope it stays. Is this from this morning? Yes, Brenda, this is from this morning. Ori messed up. Shush. Stan, don't be calling me out like that. Don't be calling. Do what T-Gold did. Say good catch, right? I will get to all of your chats a little bit later. We'll end up chatting about this more. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Again, I'm not 100% sure. It wasn't confirmed. I'm going to stick with the idea that AI is still going and being active. They're kind of doing that in the house as well, because I don't think there was any mention of that either. They're still kind of planning on 3 noms at the moment. So we'll see how it all plays out. We'll get more information on that today. Let's get into the post-episode live feeds. This is what you guys are here for. We did get pre-HOH live feeds. I actually predicted this last night, because one of the things was I was debating as we were watching the episode. I meant, should I just stay live? Should I just stay live for the wall competition? But I had a really strong suspicion that it was going to end up being how it was. The episode ended, and we got the feeds back, fairly quickly, like we have been for every other Thursday, which I've been loving. I gotta say, I love when we get the feeds right after an episode. I hate when we have to wait till the West Coast airing to be over, and if they're still playing HOH, we have to wait till that's over. I like getting the pre-eviction or the post-eviction pre-HOH feeds, because it's a lot of fun. And I'll tell you, if we didn't get them last night, we would have missed a lot, because they were so engaging. All the fallout from this crazy Blindside on the house, just completely splitting the house up, shaking everything up. It was so much fun to see. Chelsea, Cam, Quinn, and Brooklyn are all just kind of in shock. They're mad. They can't believe this happened. Chelsea was going over and, you know what? It's just a game. People lie. It's fine. Trying to reason with her. She was like, it's fine. This is okay. It was wild. Rubina was even in shock. Like, she didn't even actually know she was going to stay until the votes were read. Because you don't know, right? How can you actually trust in that moment whether or not you had the votes to stay? Decour, she hid in the corner. Decour was in the back room, literally as far away. Like, if you had to tell somebody, hide in the most far away corner of the house that you possibly can, she did that. She went all the way in the corner, huddled up, like full on, never left. People were coming to her, be like, you okay? She said to Kivo, she's like, I really have to pee, but I'm scared to face him. Leah and Tucker came in. They were like, yeah, they're talking about you out there. They are throwing you under the bus. Because it's kind of true, right? They were in an alliance with the other side and completely blindsided them. I would expect them not to want to see you at the moment, and they would be pretty mad. Cam does visit, though, and he says, listen, I'm not mad, right? Like, it's all cool. And Decour's like, yeah, I just want you to know I want to protect you, Chelsea, and Brooklyn. Oh, yeah, sure. Sure, Decor. You want to protect us. No, yes. Yes, you do. Of course you do. You didn't just flip on us and completely ruin our game and blow everything up. No, of course you want to protect us. I trust that 100%. Other than that, those feeds that we got, just all the madness of people trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. It was so much fun watching all that. After that, feeds go down for the HOH competition because they weren't even dressed yet, right? They were still kind of in like nice clothing and stuff like that. They had to get into the athletic gear. They got them all set up on the wall. And then we got the full sort of competition on the live feeds. Angela ends up coming down first. She wasn't up there very long. We got Chemo and Joseph who dropped off after her. Those were the first three to drop. And they're the have-nots for the week. They will be up in the have-not room. This is going to be Chemo's second time, Joseph and Angela's first time. But I don't know if Angela's going to make it this week as a have-not. This could be rough for Angela, but very entertaining for all of us. So get ready for sleep-deprived, hungry Angela. At the very least, it seems like she has some friends now in the house. So Angela's probably not going to be too bad, but she might turn on all of them and we could get a whole nother map blow up in the morning. Who knows from Angela? She's shown that she is unpredictable. So I'm excited for that at least. After that, we move on in the competition. Leah, Chelsea, Takor, MJ, they all drop afterwards. Then we kind of get into our final five, the ones who stayed up there a little bit longer. Brooklyn ends up dropping. Rubina ends up dropping. We get our final three, Cam, Tucker, and Quinn, hanging up on that wall. Quinn and Cam, obviously desperate to hold on. They just had their whole game blindsided and blown up with this eviction, losing one of their closest allies in Cedric. What's that? We had Indie Girl coming on in with a super chat, $1.99. Thank you so much, Indie. I really appreciate that. If you guys do ever want to support the channel, easiest thing you can do is smashing that like button. It's free. All you got to do is click that little thumbs up. Easiest way to support the channel. All those comments that you guys are doing in chat are wonderful as well. You can hit that subscribe button. You can also join the channel. You can get cool, fun little emotes. Kind of the funniest one we have right now at the moment is the Joseph mustache emote. You can check out things like the Ori Fund, Throne, all kinds of cool stuff if you want to check that out. In the description, all kinds of links. There's stuff you can type in chat like exclamation Ori Fund, exclamation Throne, but none of that's ever needed. The biggest way you could do it is just smashing that thumbs up button. Where were we? Cam, Tucker, Quinn, the final three, this battle to see who's going to win. Tucker, who's been just so dominant. Cam ends up falling, and we get what everybody wants to see, the battle of the century. Tucker versus Quinn. Final two up on that wall. You could not ask for a better final length of this competition, right? Like if you scripted this out, you couldn't have it end up any better. Tucker and Quinn on opposite ends of the wall, even just the visual of that alone was amazing. But then they ended up cutting the feeds and we didn't actually get to see it play out to the conclusion. They kind of robbed us as that. And listen, I get it. They're trying to keep, something for the episode, right? Like a little bit of something. And it stunk. The one thing I will say though, we didn't have as much cutting during the actual competition itself. In previous seasons, the feeds would cut a lot. I think a big part of that is there wasn't actually a host of this competition. Since everybody played, there wasn't somebody going and having to do the lines of like, oh, and Chemo drops, good job, Chemo. And they usually have to like re-record those lines. So it will like cut to, the fishes or the pets for like a little bit. And then they come back to the competition. Sometimes you don't even see people dropping during the competition. This one, we saw pretty much everything except the end. I also, again, not trying to make, excuses for production or anything, but I do feel a little less hurt because, again, we've been getting those post-eviction pre-HOH feeds, and any other season, we would not have gotten that fallout. Those feeds alone, plus what we did get with the endurance comp, was so good. It was so good, it made this... Get my coffee. It made the sting of not seeing that final 2 play out feel a little bit better because we had that extra feeds that they gave us, and it felt like, all right, if you're not going to give us that, at least we got this. So, who won, you may be asking? Well, apparently there was some kind of deal offered at some point. Oops, pressing the wrong button there. Apparently there was some kind of deal offered at some point for Tucker and Quinn to kind of end it. Quinn turned this down, and it's a shame that he did because Tucker wins HOH. Apparently, he won on like the very next tilt of the wall that they did. As soon as Quinn turned down that deal, that's when he ended up losing the competition. So it was like he should have just taken the deal, and Tucker wins HOH. Just a full-on competition beast. Unbelievable to see just the run that he's been on. Can he keep this up? Because it's going to be harder and harder as things keep on going. But Tucker has just been proving himself to be on another level. What we got coming on in here? Another super chat. Arlene with the $6.99 from Canada. Good old Canada. And get myself a double-double. Maybe a farmer's wrap from Timmy's. Thank you so much, Arlene. I appreciate you coming on in with the super chat. Can he keep this momentum going, though, with Tucker? Because, again, winning all these competitions, with the way the competitions have been, right? This is a conversation I think maybe we should have after we're done with everything else in the feeds. But equitable comps, right? Remind me after the update. Let's talk about the comp situation because I got thoughts. I want to hear from you guys, and we'll go over that a little bit more. When we come back after the HOH competition is done, everyone's getting their showers and stuff like that. It was a little hard to tell at first who won because the cameras were on Quinn, but you could tell he was not happy. He looked very disappointed. There was no key around his neck. Tucker walked in, had the key, and it was like, oh boy. They ended up getting showers right next to each other. Quinn went into the other room and just sat alone for a very long time, just kind of spacing out. Like it wasn't playing, but you could hear it in your head. Hello, darkness, my old friend. He was in shock, just kind of reeling from how much his game had just blown up and how things went so poorly for him in these past 24 hours when he's honestly was feeling good. He was the secret deep fake HOH, only to have one of his closest allies be evicted on his HOH Power Week by 2 of his closest allies without them telling him, and then to lose HOH to the guy who's been calling you out. What a terrible 24 hours Quinn has had inside that Big Brother house. And I think, if we're honest, it could get worse, but maybe not. Maybe not. So we got Cam, Chelsea, and Brooklyn all kind of talking about, just the whole situation. What's funny is they actually think Decor and Chemo planned this from the start. Like, they think that, this was all, like, from the whole week going to be their plan to vote Cedric out. They're probably wrong on that. I do actually believe Decor, Chemo, that this was actually more of a last minute split decision. I think they really thought that this could go either way, right? Like, I don't think they made their choice until it happened. It was definitely like that last second, are we going to do this or not kind of decision, and then they just went with it. What was also funny was Chelsea was thinking like, oh, you know what? Tucker's got to probably put up Quinn, probably put up Leah and MJ. Oh, honey, Chelsea. Listen, I love you, Chelsea. But if that's what you thought Tucker was going to do, if that's where you were leaning, if that's what you thought after everything that just happened was how it was going to play out, I don't think you were paying attention, Chelsea. I really don't. We did, again, I was kind of mentioning Takur and Chemo were having a chat, kind of discussing how it all went down. Joseph was actually joining them up there too. And Joseph kind of wondered, he was like, did you guys tell anyone about the collective? And Chemo's like, no. Chemo did. Chemo told Tucker. But they also talk about, potentially trying to protect Chelsea and Quinn. Like, they don't want them necessarily to be in trouble. So if they could, they would like to see, them actually survive this week. And they do also talk about, like, the decision, right? About it being kind of in the moment. Joe even said he didn't know what he was going to do until he heard Takur tell Rubina that she was voting to keep her. And that's when he knew what he was going to do, because he was like, all right, I'm pretty sure she's voting. So I think I do believe them there, that they didn't know until the moment when they had to make the decision. Because we know they're the most indecisive people in the world. They can never actually make a decision. So the fact that they actually made one was incredible. Tucker held some one-on-ones with people. Brooklyn, Cam, Chelsea said a lot of things about, like, needing a pawn and that noms weren't necessarily locked, but, Quinn obviously is an option. But he even kind of, like, really leaned in with Cam about, like, hey, like, I'm not sure Quinn's the biggest competitor anymore, right? Like, I'm not sure he's actually the biggest threat. There might be some other people that we have to take care of. Tucker ended up meeting with Joseph, and he actually told Joseph, Tucker did, that he was thinking of his nominations be Quinn, Cam, and Brooklyn. And Joseph was actually pushing, like, Cam and Brooklyn way more than Quinn, saying how, like, they're actually probably the bigger threats right now, especially Brooklyn. And it really seemed like that's something that Tucker kind of agreed with, because he ended up going and telling the others, Rubina, Chemo, Takur, Angela, kind of that fun little alliance. He ends up telling them, like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to put up Brooklyn. I think I'm going to put up Cam and Quinn. And then, even though me and Quinn got this beef going, right? Even though I was calling Quinn out, Brooklyn would be the target. He would even potentially take Quinn down if he has the option. And they're really looking at Brooklyn as the one who is kind of the mastermind, who is really pulling all the strings behind the Pentagon and the collective, and Cam being the most dangerous competitor of them. And if they get rid of them, Quinn isn't really that much of a worry anyway. So we could be in for another wild thing. And also, I know what you guys are going to say. I was just talking about how Brooklyn was in the best position in the house. Guys, I promise you I'm not a jinx. Listen, I swear I'm not trying to jinx people. But it just so happens that every time I say somebody's doing really good this season, every time I say someone's doing really good this season, things go poorly. And at this point, I'm starting to believe that maybe I am a jinx. It's possible. It's possible that maybe I need to stop saying that people are doing well and pumping them up, because I think it's working against them in the long run. But that pretty much covers everything that ended up happening. Rubina did spend the night up in the HOH room. We didn't really get to see much of that. They kind of switched the cameras off. I don't know. They could be having some fun right now, for all I know. But the cameras, I don't think, are on them. But they are having a good time. And yeah, what a wild eviction. Wild HOH. Just everything that went on the live feeds. Just all of the fallout. This season's cooking. This season has really been something else, and I just can't wait to see more. What's fun too is we are at a point where there was this big, large alliance, but for the most part, it's all blown up now, right? Like, we had the collective going, and it seemed like they could have really run the table. And what's crazy is too, none of this is necessarily all because of good gameplay. All of this came about because of bad game decisions, and it kind of goes along with the way I view Big Brother, right? I feel like, yeah, we love the really good players, right? The really good players are so fun to watch, kind of, work the house and manipulate and make their way to the top. But you know what the most fun Big Brother is? Bad, messy Big Brother. People who are playing, right? Like, I don't want people just sitting around doing nothing. That's no fun. But if they're making moves, if they're doing things, but it's bad, that is when Big Brother's at the best. Quinn should have kept his mouth shut. If Quinn never says anything about the Pentagon to Decor and Chemo, they probably full on trust him all the time. But he was doing it to gain more trust in them, but they didn't trust in it, which is just a thing. It's crazy. And then it made it even worse when all the stuff came out with Tucker and Cedric, and that really had their head spinning as well on like, hey, maybe we should, switch sides here. Maybe this isn't the best for us. Decor and Chemo, they also could have done all this, and they could have set things up so much better if they would have just went and talked to Quinn, talked to the rest of the collective. I'm so confident they could have gotten Leah up on the block instead of Rubina. And if they would have gotten Leah up on the block instead of Rubina, they could have just voted out her or Mackenzie, kept Rubina around, been good with Tucker, and still had numbers on that side if they want to go against the collective and stayed in the shadows. But instead, because of the way they went about this, they ended up making it so their hand was forced into having to make this decision of keeping Rubina versus Cedric. So it's just been amazing. Also, let's talk about the dumb move Cedric made. Cedric, what makes probably his best decision of actually not going against Quinn and, pulling this kind of like double cross in a way on Tucker, but basically trying to get him not to do it, but he did it anyway. Young Cedric, if he just didn't volunteer, if he just doesn't volunteer for the block this week, there's no way Quinn would have been like, yeah, I'm going to put Cedric up. No, not a chance. And I feel like he would have leaned towards Rubina still anyway. He would have leaned towards probably Leah as another nominee that he would have put up. And it probably would have even been Cam, who he would have been like, hey, Cam, listen, you're the best competitor. You're the one who has the best shot of going in there and beating them. It probably would have ended up being him who was on the block. But instead, Tucker, Quinn, I'm so confused. Cedric was just as confused. Cedric goes from being in such a great spot to volunteering to be on the block, going home on the power that Tucker tried to get you to flush the week before. Almost poetic. Almost poetic. It's almost what I was suggesting should happen with the America's veto. I was saying, listen, you got to flush that thing, because if you're not the HOH, you're at risk of going home. Kind of the same thing happened here. Because Cedric wasn't the HOH and volunteered, he went home on the thing he was was told to flush out. What a wild season this has been. And again, while a lot of the gameplay was bad, I'm so glad it happened this way, because it's been so much fun. That pretty much kind of covers the update. Let's jump more into the chat, talk with you guys. Oh, you know what we could do? I do have our allegiance chart. I did make a new allegiance chart for today. Here we go. This is how, again, it's fluid, right? These charts are fluid. And if you compare this to the one from last week, from just yesterday, it was so different than it is today. And I feel like over the course of the next few days, this will kind of develop as we get more of a feel of where people are actually standing. But at the moment, there is a very clear divide in the house of Tucker, Rubina, Joseph, Angela, Chemo, and Decor on one side, Quinn, Chelsea, Cam, Brooklyn on the other, Leah and MJ right smack dab in the middle there. And there's probably going to be some play with this as well, right? I feel like Quinn is still kind of playing both sides a little bit, trying to stay close to Keymore, Keymore, good old Keymore, Takor and Chemo. So they're trying to kind of, work with them still. But if I'm Quinn, there's no way I'm trusting them ever again, right? Like, if you're Quinn in this game and you still at any point try and work and trust Chemo and Takor, like, honestly, you're thick. Come on, bud. Maybe cut some of that hair off and let some information get into your head, because you cannot trust these two anymore. Not at all. But it does seem like he's trying to kind of see what he can do. At the same time, it feels like they're trying to protect him a little bit. They would like to see him around more than they would like to see people like Cam, Brooklyn, and even Chelsea now at this point, especially because Brooklyn was throwing them under the bus. She went right to Tucker during her one-on-ones, and she was like, oh, yeah, like, there's 3 people in this house who lied to me all week and then never told me anything that was going on. Made me say goodbye to Rubina. So they would actually really like to see Brooklyn go. We know Joseph has not been a big fan of Brooklyn at all, and it seems like Tucker is kind of in agreement with this. He had issues with Brooklyn. She was in that 5 points alliance with them and Rubina, ratted them out to Chelsea. And to the rest of the Pentagon. So they're actually really looking at Brooklyn now as being the main target this week. As far as the social credit goes, right? It's iffy, but I feel like Quinn, Chelsea, Cam, Brooklyn all took huge hits. Just not only with numbers, but at this point, I think if they're on the block against Leah, against MJ, they leave. I think they leave. I even think with Angela, they leave, right? If they're against Chemo and Takor, they probably leave. But on the same note, when you have the other side of the house, how the kind of like hierarchy is, Tucker and Rubina are the top. I feel like Joseph has actually a really good connection with Tucker now. They've had a Final 2 for a while, and it seems like he's got a really good line to Tucker to be able to kind of influence his way of thinking. I don't know if Tucker was really actually thinking that, Brooklyn needs to go until Joseph pushed that more. So I feel like he's kind of above there. I feel like Angela's above, because who's going to take out Angela? If anybody of them are on the block against Angela, I feel like Angela stays, right? Like, nobody's taking out Angela right now. And I think at the bottom of that is Chemo and Takor. I think they really are at the bottom of this thing. I think if they had to put up a replacement nominee before they put up Joseph, before they put up Angela, they would put up Chemo and Takor. I really think that. And then over on the other side, I feel like actually Quinn, despite how much of a rivalry he has going on with Tucker, I feel like he's kind of at the top of the pecking order with that. Because I feel like more people are going to be going after Cam and Brooklyn before they go after Quinn and Chelsea. But again, if it ends up being Quinn and Brooklyn, I think Quinn stays. If it's Quinn versus Cam, I think Cam stays. Chelsea and Quinn, I'm not 100% sure. I have Quinn leading a little bit, because I think Chemo and Takor still trust him more. Right? Like, if they had the option, they would want to push for that. I think Joseph also trusts Quinn just a little bit more, right? So that's why I have him just a little bit ahead. But Chemo and Takor, while doing everything they did, and while as entertaining as it was, I feel like all they really did was put themselves on the bottom of the house for real. They were really in a swing vote position. They had all the information. They had all the ability to kind of get the game to go the way they wanted to go. And where did they end up going? The bottom. They went to the bottom. They thought they were on the bottom. Now they are on the bottom. Absolutely wild. But let's jump into the chat. Enough of me yapping. I want to hear from you guys. What you guys were all thinking about everything that went down. The wild Blindside, about Tucker winning HOH, his plan to potentially go after Brooklyn this week. just everything that's been going on. I've been absolutely loving it. I will say, if you are new here, if this is your first time checking out the channel, first time checking out a stream, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, if you like this stream, hit that like button. It's the easiest way to support the channel. Lets YouTube know that you like what's going on around here. You can also check out the description. There will be a pinned comment after this as well, with all of my socials. You can do it in chat too as well if you hit exclamation socials. You can find things like exclamation kick and Twitch. Find links to those. They've been a little bit quiet with Big Brother season, but hopefully we get into that a little bit more. You can also check out things like Throne or the Ori Fund if you want to support more. You can join the channel as well. Get some cool emotes like our good old Joseph stash emote that if you want to use in chat, you can do that as well. None of that is ever required or ever needed. Just you showing up, hitting that like button. Hitting the like button's required. If you're here listening to this guy yap, yeah, you should hit that like button. So what are you guys saying up in chat here? Tucker is going for Jag's record, possibly. Ooh, and remind me, once we catch up with chat here, I want to talk about competitions this season. I want to, because I think this is one of those moments where I have a very different opinion than the majority of people. And I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Maybe if I'm able to convince you to see things my way and stuff like that. Chemo and Decor are at the bottom of their alliance, but I don't think they will be in danger for a while, and they have time to build from here. So here's the thing. They are at the bottom, and you may be right that they might not be direct targets right away, right? Like, I think everybody would go after, let's say, Tucker and Robina and put them on the block together first. Tucker's going to win veto, right? There's a really high chance that Tucker's going to win veto. You're going to have to put a replacement nominee up, right? Who's it going to be? Are you going to put up Angela? Are you going to put up Joseph? No, I think it's Chemo and Decor. I think one of them go up on the block. Does that necessarily mean they get voted out? No. But I would think after Tucker and Rubina, I think they're the next ones. Leah? Here's the thing. I don't even think they would go after Leah because Leah, I feel like they still think like, hey, you know what? Maybe we can pull her on over. Now, I don't think they can. I don't think they can pull her on over. Tucker was telling her, he's like, you know, like Chelsea hates your guts, right? Like he full on hates your guts. Also, here's the thing to consider too. After Cam's gone, after Brooklyn's gone, why are we 100% sure that Tucker wants to stick with Chemo and Decor? We've already seen that he doesn't like people who kind of are sneaky and being disloyal, right? Like he's the type of player who kind of respects, you know, honesty and goes out for people who are competitors. Why would he not see Chemo and Decor as obvious threats who are able to manipulate the vote and flip and lie on people? I could see Tucker after Cam's gone, after Brooklyn's gone, maybe even before Quinn and Chelsea. I could see Tucker going, you know what? It's time to take a shot at Chemo and Decor. I could see that, but I don't know. I'm loving competitions, but I still want to see some old ones. Yeah, you know, I've got some thoughts. Let's catch up with chat here more before I go in deep with it. She was on my radar till last night. Rubina will end up taking Tucker out. Oh, Rhonda, you want some full on fireworks in that house. You want the world to burn. I love it. They can pull Leah. Can just need to rizz her up a bit. Just give her the good old rizz. Tucker will figure out Decor and Chemo because they didn't learn anything, and that's the thing, right? Like, I think there's so much stuff that Tucker's going to be learning and has learned already that Decor and Chemo weren't telling him and weren't being honest about, that I feel like he's the type of player that goes, yeah, you know what? They're actually threats. We need to get them out of the game. I could see that. I could really see that happening. he's already been so willing to kind of squash the stuff with Quinn already to go after somebody else that he views as a bigger threat. And I think that shows, again, this nature in Tucker where he's willing to change his game up and just go with something new. Avery coming on in, hitting that sub button. Thank you so much for hitting that. You don't know this. You might not have known this. But when you hit that sub button, me and you, we are now in a secret alliance with each other. Now, you might hear in chat from other people that I have a secret alliance with them. They're liars. They're T-Core and Chemo. They just lie and manipulate. Do not listen to anybody else in chat. Me and you, Avery, we are going to the final two. Don't tell anybody. Shh. It's a secret. It's a secret. Where were we? Tucker will figure them out. They say Leah will vote for what is her best interest. She's not a number for votes, but they trust her more than MJ. Yeah, 100%. I think Leah is somebody that people see more as a potential number and an option. But you're right. Like, she's just going to do what she wants. That's why I have her and MJ in the middle, because I think right now they're completely free agents, like looking for a home. But I also don't think MJ would want to go with that side, because would probably, at least should, know that, hey, if I didn't win that AI arena, I probably was going to be evicted. If they were so quickly to vote Rubina out and keep Cedric, and they're so broken up about this, I probably would have gone. So I think MJ would lean towards the other side. But again, I don't think they even see her as part of their numbers, but just as like, we need an extra vote this week. But that's also a dangerous thing to leave around. I actually feel like that's why they've come up so much. They're no longer at the bottom. They're actually like very much full on in the middle, and they can ride this wave out. MJ and Leah, if the rest of the house isn't careful, they don't necessarily get along that much. They're not really even working together. Like, they're actively like talking bad about each other sometimes. If they just gotta ride this wave and just be like a duo by necessity, they could go far. They really could. And MJ, like, she's not a slouch in competitions. We've seen her do very well. It could be a dangerous thing to let her keep going. They're likely going to try and backdoor Tucker once Arena is finished. And Mo, if they're going to try and backdoor Tucker, who do you think they're putting on the block? Rubina? Probably. MJ, maybe, right? To have like a competitor who can win it. Otherwise, Chemo and Decor are great options to put up there as pawns if you're trying to backdoor Tucker. Why not? Right? You want to put somebody up there that, if they want it, would end up either not using it or, using it in a way to save, Tucker, and two people are safe at that point, right? Might as well put somebody from that side up. So I feel like all Chemo and Decor did was really make their position in the game worse. And I love that they did it, but I don't think it helped them. Where are we at here? I mean, they're low on his totem pole. Absolutely. Don't think so. Tucker looks and acts exactly like my little brother. Fun TV, but unpredictable for sure. Exhausting for sure to live with. 100%, right? I think he is just so fun for the feeds. Just so unpredictable. But yeah, he would be a little exhausting. But also, weirdly, I think people kind of are just enthralled by it, right? They're so engaged by him that I feel like Tucker's even won people over, like Joseph, right? I feel like even though like the numbers were starting to lean that way, so Joseph kind of jumped on board too. Even before that, he really was starting to just like Tucker as a person. So Tucker's social game, while crazy and unpredictable, and his like game, his strategical game is off the wall, his social game is actually really good. Angela will be dreaming about an IHOP. I need more info about that story with Angela and the IHOP. There's got to be some cell phone footage out there. Where are we at here? Rubina just came downstairs and realized her bed was taken. Might as well go back upstairs. Might as well head back on up. Watching Cedric cry was sad. I did feel bad for Cedric, right? But he volunteered. He volunteered to go on the block. Like, what are you doing? Leah is Regina George. Now, which Regina George? OG Regina George, or are we talking about musical Regina George? Which one are we talking about here? Pokey in the Ozarks coming on in and hitting that sub button. Guess what? You don't know this, or you might have. But by hitting that sub button, you and me, we now have a secret alliance with each other. Shh, don't tell anybody. There's definitely not a whole bunch of people in chat listening to us talk right now. Me and you are going to make it to the final two. If anybody comes to you and tells you that I have an alliance with them, don't listen. They're liars. And we'll have to take them out. You are my real final two, no matter what. We're going to the end. We're going to the end. Thank you so much for hitting that sub button. Where are we at here? After a thing with Matt, I think Angela is ready for the Waffle House. The 6 calling MJ baby snake last night. That was funny. That was funny. Let's see. Where are we? Tucker and Angela are wild. Who is your guys' favorite player this season? Ooh. For just pure entertainment, Angela and Tucker. But also just for making big moves and making splashes, Tucker, right? Like, they're not the best, most optimal moves, but he's not afraid to take a swing and take a shot and bet on himself. And will he be able to keep this going? Probably not, but man, it's fun to watch. Man, it is fun to watch. I'm scared to say anybody else because I've been such a jinx. I've been such a jinx so far on who's doing well. ADHD Tucker. Honestly, there's probably a little bit of that going on with Tucker. I could see that. Tucker cooks for everyone and they enjoy it. Exactly, right? He's got this kind of really good thing going with his social game that with the cooking and just being just this kind of fun, engaging, nice guy that people like having a conversation with. He makes you feel valued in that conversation. And I feel like people just go, yeah, I like this guy. I just do. He's got that X factor to him. And I feel like it's something that probably doesn't come across on the screen as well as it does in person. And I think a lot of you guys probably know people like in real life who are just super charismatic. They just are able to gain people's attention and keep it. And I feel like Tucker has that just extra thing about him that just makes him so likable that people want to end up actually working with him, even though he's super unpredictable and they probably shouldn't be. First time catching you. You are amazing. Love the content. What a crazy night. Thank you so much for coming on in, Kate. I appreciate it. It was a wild night. What a crazy battle between Q and Tucker. I wish we got to see it on the feeds. But I'm excited for Sunday's episode to see how this all kind of goes. Takor and Chemo still have a great opportunity to draw Quinn back in, especially if this Tucker veto plan works. They do, the House has spoken. But if I'm Quinn, I'm not trusting them again. Right? Like, I'll say whatever, right? Like, and that's the thing too. I feel like Quinn really messed up with not going along with, like, yeah, sure, I'll bury the hatchet, but not really burying the hatchet, right? Quinn, what he should have done this whole week was going to Tucker and be like, yeah, you know what? Screw it. Let's actually work together. Nobody's going to think this is a thing, and we'll be safe. And he probably would be in a really good position right now, and he probably would have been let in on the vote flipping, but because he denied it so hard, it's like, man, what did you expect was going to happen, right? Like, what did you expect? It's why you always say yes to an alliance. If somebody brings you an alliance, you just say yes. Even if you're not going to hold it, right? Like, you just say yes. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the things that have happened all were so avoidable with just basic, like, good gameplay. But because they're so messy and they're so bad, it's led to this super entertaining season. I've been enjoying every minute of it. Being able to play to stay is fair. The backdoor needs to be renewed. So that's the thing, right? With the AI arena, it's really hard to actually backdoor anybody, right? Because you don't really have that security, and once veto's used, the noms are locked. They still have that chance to get themselves off. So even going into this one, right? Like, even if the plan to go after Brooklyn or to go after Quinn, or take Quinn down, doesn't go into the works. At the end of the day, if they win that AI arena, they can save themselves, right? If Cam's on the block and they decide, you know what, we'll take Cam out. If he wins the arena, he wins the arena, and there's nothing you could do. Just like Tucker. It's like, hey, you know what? If they could have taken him out, they probably would have, but he keeps winning. He keeps winning the vetoes. He keeps winning the AI. So it's like, what are you going to do? Let's see. Totally lost my spot in chat. I'm going to be honest. Totally lost. Oh, wait, here we are. Angela is the better married mother than Brooklyn. Did you guys know that Brooklyn was married and has kids? I don't know if you guys knew that, but she does. Devin also has a daughter. That was information that you need to know. And they will let you know every step of the way. Didn't Joseph vote Matt out because he didn't want guys to like him, i.e. Comp Beast, to win Big Brother, yet he sides with Tucker? You got a point. You got a point. If Tucker could run the table, it would be really hard. And I think he's got to win a lot of competitions and have the right people win if it's not him. But he could. He could. Brooklyn is so annoying. I want her to go home. Joseph is boring. IR Geek, we do have a secret alliance. Don't you let anybody tell you any different. We're going to the final two. Wait, who do we all vote for AI instigator? Are we voting Tucker or Angela? I think we vote Angela since Tucker won HOH. It doesn't actually go into effect until next week, right? So the vote's actually staying up until next Thursday. So there's potential that, like, we could vote Quinn and then Quinn gets voted out, right? We could vote for somebody we could vote for Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn's on her way out. Let's vote for her, and then we don't even have to see it. Let's ruin production's plans. No, but I think it's probably going to be Angela or Tucker, either one of them. And I think either one of them could, do a good job with it. But again, it's pointless, right? It's kind of pointless. Where are we at here? Rubina and Joseph are the final two. I'm calling it now. Favorite player this season, Tucker and Angela. Matt, Angela, Lisa, and Tucker final four would have been the most iconic thing ever. That would have been wild. Tucker should pull MJ onto his side. She's strong and most likely to be loyal. Dolores, I'm with you, right? Give her a home. And like I said, I don't think she has any love for the other side of the house at this point, because I think she knows if she stayed up on the block and didn't win, she was going to be going. So I'm with you. Let's see. World, I wouldn't be mad at that, actually. The fact that the Comp Beast is the fan favorite and the super fan / underdog is the most hated by the fans is funny. You know what? You're kind of right. Please, Ori, jinx someone new. I don't want to be the jinx to anybody. I keep jinxing them. I want Brooklyn gone. Ori, please make me like Tucker. I can't talk nice about Tucker or I'll end up jinxing him. I'll end up jinxing him. Reminds me of Jace Cage. You're not wrong. Cage, you're not wrong. And the ironic thing is, that's Quinn's favorite player in Big Brother history. Quinn's favorite player in Big Brother history is basically who his rival is playing like. And it's so good. Is Rubina okay? Is she? Is something going on the feeds right now? I think someone took her bed. Oh my God, yeah, I just went to look on the feeds. What is Rubina doing? Is she okay? I think she's staring at the memory wall. Hold on, let me see if I can share this with you guys real quick. Does this work? Oh, hold on. We'll get it up so you guys can see this. This is funny. I don't know what she is just probably in shock still about everything that went down. Let's see. I guess this one, and then here. So that's Rubina down there in the bottom corner underneath that light. I don't know what she's doing. She's just staring at the memory wall. I guess she can't sleep. I don't know if she wants to not be up in the HOH room with Tucker. I guess her bed had gotten taken, somebody said. But yeah, she's still up, just chilling there. Hopefully she's okay. She had a wild day, right? I can understand her being just fully emotionally exhausted with this whole situation. Glad Rubina is still in the house. I like her. I kind of like her too. Who are we voting for the AI instigator? I think Tucker or Angela are probably going to win it, and those would be probably my choices. But it doesn't matter. I don't know. I think the instigator twist is such a silly thing that's kind of pointless. Tucker and an ally could win, like Mickey and Holly, 100%, right? If him and Rubina start kind of running things here, they really could. Tucker cooks what people actually want to eat. 100% IR geek, right? Lisa's stuff was weird. Tucker just cooks like good food, right? Like everything I've seen Tucker like make, I'm actually like, yo, this guy knows how to make a good meal. Did you guys see the nachos he made? Those were restaurant style nachos that he made. Like it wasn't just like, oh, he threw some cheese and some ground beef on there. He made like some good nachos. I was like, yo, I need to get Tucker to cater my next party. I feel like I went to bed early last night, but it was 3 a.m. Eastern. They were up late. Rubina's still up right now. I don't know what Rubina's gonna do. She's thinking hard. She's still just thinking hard right now. I don't know what she's up to. What's going on through her head? If we had a tap inside Rubina's head right now, I bet it's fascinating. Let's see. Where we at? I find him so annoying. Yes, Tucker was clueless on how close Chemo and T-Core really are. But that's the thing. I feel like he knew how close they were. He just never expected them to flip like that, right? And to keep him out on information because he was sharing so much. He felt like he had a good bond there. Let's see where we at here. I lost my spot. Oh no. Angela Slow Cop and Matt. I have a brother to send you though. Did Brooklyn ever reveal that she was I don't know if she revealed the Miss America or Miss Texas. I know she talked about like her like cheerleading and dance team stuff that she did. But I don't know if she ever talked about that kind of thing. Yeah, Rubina's just sitting awake. It's she does look sad. I don't know why she would be sad, but she does. Brooklyn didn't know Taylor won her season. Let's see. It was 100% a whirlwind for her. She stayed in the HOH room till like an hour ago. Sleepwalking, maybe. Quinn's the sleepwalker. He might have been sleepwalking the other day too. MJ was sitting out in the living room, and he was like coming downstairs, and MJ's like, this is freaky. What's going on? But I don't know if he was like awake or if he was sleepwalking or what. Let's see, where were we? It's not pointless because they could still secrets without people knowing who's doing it. But here's the thing though. It's going to be secrets without knowing who's doing it, but if you're in the game, you're going to know it's not the person actually saying it. So why are you going to believe any secret other than like, this is just someone trying to stir the pot, right? So why would you give anything that AI says any credit? Even if it's true. If anything, that's the better way to use it. If you're in an alliance with somebody and you want to throw suspicion off, use the AI to do like 2 truths and a lie. Throw out like one just completely made up thing, and then throw out 2 things that are actually true about your game, and then no one's going to believe it. Because why would you give that AI any credit? You know it's just someone trying to spin the pot, right? Anything the instigator says, I think is going to have no effect on the game whatsoever. There's nothing that AI bot could say that would make me go, oh. There's nothing. Because even if it did make me go, oh, I'm not going to believe it. At least I'm not going to let it affect how I'm thinking, because I know it's just somebody trying to get me to think that, right? It just feels so pointless to me. It's going to be fun, right? It could be fun. Like the better thing to do would just be use it to roast people, right? Like, you know, just make fun of people. Be a bully. Make them say terrible things. What do we got here? Barbara coming on in, hitting that sub button. Guess what, Barbara? You might not have known this, but by hitting that sub button, me and you, we now have a secret alliance. We have a final two. Shh, don't tell anybody. Ronnie coming on in. Ronnie, we now have a secret alliance with each other. I knew you might have heard me saying other stuff, but don't listen to it. Me and you, Ronnie, we're going to the final two. Me and you. If you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. We're on our way to 15K. Hopefully to get there by the end of the season. Also, if you're enjoying this stream, hit that like button. It's the easiest way to support the channel. If you want to support the channel more, there's things like exclamation Ori Fund or exclamation Throne if you wanted to grab like a gift. Actually, funny enough, Throne is how I got my very own Power of Veto. Someone who watches the channel used the Power of Veto on myself. Now, I'm not trying to say I'm such a good game player that I got somebody to use the Power of Veto on myself, but if you guys said that, that's what you guys would say. I'm not saying it. Some people say it, though. Lots of people say that I'm fantastic, but I'm not saying it. I would never. But the easiest thing to do is just hitting that like button. You can join the channel if you want. You get some emotes and stuff like that. Also, make sure your name a different color, so you do appear in chat a little bit easier to be able to catch your some of your comments. Like I see Heather saying yummy. Dudley saying but does he put glitter in the food? Maybe. I gave Cam and Chelsea 5 votes each for the instigator. Okay, soldier. Like it. Where are we at here? I voted Tucker and Angela. I like Rubina. Where were we? Chat just jumped on me there. Where was it? Oh, no, I lost my spot. I like Rubina, but she doesn't feel like she's doing anything in the game. For the most part, no. Like, she's just kind of having things happen to her. But she's finding herself in a good spot. Speaking of, she just left her little spot. Looks like she might be making her way into a bed. Oh, yeah. Okay. Giving you guys an update. Rubina has found a bed. She's got a spot. I believe that was Kenny and Cedric's bed. That bed might be cursed. I don't know. Rubina, maybe sleep on the couch. maybe don't sleep in that bed. I think it's cursed. But she's finally made her way to sleep. Where were we here? Voted Leah. Since Rubina with Tucker, they'll let them nap in the HOH room. Maybe they have been letting them nap a little bit more. They've also, I've noticed, and maybe not. Maybe this is just like kind of like one of those like biasy side things where it's like you never notice when the shower doesn't ring in the phone, but you notice every time it does ring when you're in the shower, right? Maybe I feels like they're giving them more booze. And like there were a couple of birthdays and stuff like that, but it feels like, Tucker's getting a White Claw like every night. It feels like they're having a good time in there. And I think part of that is because of how good the season's been, and they've been like, listen, you guys are giving us good stuff. We're going to treat you right a little bit. As much as Tucker likes to talk trash on production and the things they don't let him do, I feel like they're letting them get away with a few things. I feel like they're taking care of this cast because they're definitely giving them good content. Chelsea and Cam just lay around all the time. You know what, Eddie? That was something I noticed the other day too. And I think I forgot to mention it in an update. Chelsea's giving me Suri vibes of when she literally just stayed in that back room all day long. And Chelsea does a lot of the same thing where she'll do her makeup in that back room. She'll just hang out and sleep in that back room. She spends a lot of time back there. And you know what? When you do that, if you're not, keeping your fingers in a lot of pots, the game's going to pass you by. Because Sari was able to do that because she always had people coming to her. Everybody went to Sari. So she could just stay in there. She didn't have to go anywhere. Chelsea's staying in there, but nobody's coming to her. Nobody's letting her know all this information. The only one who was coming to her was Brooklyn. Meanwhile, she hears about this alliance happening, and it's like she didn't even bother doing anything. She didn't go to Chemo and T-Core and be like, hey, I heard about that 5 points thing. Like, we're solid, right? She wasn't putting that work in. So yeah, she has kind of been sleeping. Which, again, also not always a bad thing, right? Sometimes sleeping's good. Sometimes staying under the radar's good. But when you are getting information, you're not taking, advantage of that info. What are you doing? And it's kind of the same thing with Chemo and T-Core on the opposite side. Like, they were getting so much information for so long, but they weren't doing anything with it. And I was starting to get frustrated. Honestly, you could say the same thing with Chelsea. So much information she got this week and then did nothing with it. Nothing. And just let it all happen. And because of that, Cedric's gone now. Probably, honestly, I think Cedric was Chelsea's closest ally. The person who took the biggest hit, other than obviously Cedric, was Chelsea. So losing him was huge. And maybe if she got out and was doing more and was more active this week, it wouldn't have been that problem. It felt like the Pentagon really just felt safe and comfortable and just stopped kind of worrying. And, it bit him. It bit him hard. I'm glad Angela's on Have Not because she will gather a lot of information to give to Tucker. I'm glad because I think she's going to lose her mind. I think she's going to handle this very, very poorly. Rubina planning how to blindside Tucker. Maybe. I don't think that's her plan yet, but I think she's you know what she's probably doing in her head. She's probably trying to make it a little bit of an allegiance chart, right? That's the kind of thing I would be doing too. Like, if I was on the show, I'd be sitting at that memory wall a lot late at night, just looking, because I'm a very visual person, right? Why I make these charts in the first place. I like to be able to see the faces and kind of figure out what's going on. I'd be using candies and stuff like that, to figure out numbers. So I bet she's probably doing that, right? Like, who's actually on my side? Who's against us? What are the numbers looking like? How do we go? So I would really be interested to know what was going through her head there. I know Rubina was nothing without Tucker. And that's the thing. I think she needs to keep Tucker around, right? Like, Tucker is her Cedric to Chelsea, right? Like, Chelsea had Cedric. Rubina now has Tucker. And it feels like because of this, she's gained a lot of standing and power in the game because they're kind of seen as the people to go to now, right? Joseph is going to Tucker. T-Core and Kima are going to Rubina. They blew up their entire game to keep her in the house. They threw everything away just to make sure Rubina stayed. So I feel like she's actually found herself in a really good spot in the game. I just jinxed her now, probably. As I said that, I really went, oh, man. Sorry, Rubina. I just jinxed you. You got the Ori curse on you now. I'm sorry, honey. It happens. Still not over. Joseph called Julie Chenbot last week. I couldn't handle the house. Condos to all those. Kudos to all those in the house. That's why it should be an evicted house guest. Ooh, what do you mean? Oh, is the instigator? Maybe that would have been kind of fun. Kind of stupid, the instigator. Yeah, right. Like, I just don't know if it's really gonna have an effect on the game at all. It could be fun, but I don't know. You're nervous on the edge. Tucker making a deep fake of Lisa. Oh, that would be funny. Betting the instigator is gonna pull out the double bluffs. Say. It'll sound too fake, but will actually be factual. Sam, that's my thought, right? Is if I had the power, that's how I would try and use it. right? Like put out a bunch of stuff that's just so fake, right? But slip in the truths. Have some truth in there too, because then it mixes all together and it kind of goes like, oh yeah, you know what, whatever, right? Like if Tucker has it and he goes, Tucker and Joseph have the final two, no one's then gonna believe that, right? Like they're gonna be like, no, that's not a real thing, you know? They're gonna dismiss that information. Do the house guests know how AI will work? Probably not. They'll just have the AI up on the screen. But it wouldn't be hard to figure that out, right? Like if you had that happen to you, you would just go, oh, like okay, this is just someone stirring the pot, right? Like obviously, just like Angela wasn't making the nominations, the person speaking to us right now isn't the one actually speaking to us. We also had Joe Slay. Is that how you say that? Joslay? I'm terrible with names. Thank you for hitting that sub button. Guess what? We now have Secret Alliance. Don't tell anybody. And I also saw Carpola following over on Twitch. I think that is. I think that's a thing for a follow over there. I appreciate it. It's been a little dark over on Twitch and Kick, but we'll get that up and running soon. Big Brother dominates the time. My prediction: Zingbot will be a hologram AI Zingbot this year. That's probably a good prediction. I think you're right on that. Or Zingbot's going to have a war with the AI, right? Like Zingbot versus Ainsley could be a thing as well. With how good HOH Angela was, have not Angela's going to be a 10. I'm open for some good stuff with it. Where were we? I think I'm so far behind on chat. Oh no. I've lost my spot. Let's jump. We're going to jump. If I missed your chats, I apologize. You found me. Tucker can make her a slop cake. Tucker was making some good stuff on the slop too, so she'll probably have some good stuff to eat, but still, she's gonna be cranky 100%. Tucker could win the game. Happy birthday! Oh, somebody's birthday. Whose birthday is it? Tommy? Oh, it's Tommy's birthday. Tommy, happy birthday, buddy. Guess what? We do a song when it is your birthday. So everybody join me in singing for Tommy. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. Anyway, where were we? Happy birthday, Tommy. Let's see. Just wanted to make a switch. MJ and Leah. Leah seems to believe Brooklyn and Chelsea, while Leah is Team Tucker and Joseph. So I actually don't think either of them lean that way. I feel like MJ at least should know that other side voted for them. But as far as like switching them, like, yeah, I could see it, right? Like I do think Leah probably leans more towards that side as well. But I think both of them lean towards that side, right? I just kind of have them very middle because like that they are not really numbers for either side, but just kind of there, right? It's almost like one of the reasons why I think the allegiance chart actually was working out really great for this season in particular. Alliances feel way less secure, and it felt more like voting blocks this entire time. And I think we're still kind of in that mode where even though, right, there's this whole like new alliance on the one side of the thing over here, even with Joseph kind of in that one, Angela begged to be in on it as well. I don't know how long that's going to last, right? I could easily see this breaking apart in like a week or two. And then you got, you know, Joseph, Quinn, and Chelsea all kind of working together with MJ to try and get out Tucker and Rubina. Right? I could see everything changing on a dime this season. So it's been really interesting and a lot more dynamic. So yeah, I could see that switch there too. But for the most part, I just kind of see them both as like very middle. I just didn't want to put necessarily one on top of the other either. Because I feel like they're at like the same level at this point. Maybe even Leah slightly above than MJ still, but similar spots. Where were we? I lost my spot again. Totally lost my spot again. Ori, what you think about Pandora's box bringing the real Ainsley into the house? Maybe. Seems like Ainsley can be voted out. It would be kind of funny if Ainsley could have been voted out. Also, I don't know if anybody's ever noticed. There is a little bit of an Easter egg on the screen. If anybody's ever been able to find it, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's actually ever seen it. I dropped the hint in a video once about an Easter egg, and actually I even put a real Easter egg on the screen somewhere. Nobody ever pointed it out. There really was an Easter egg in the video, but there's been an Easter egg since the start with the allegiance charts. I just don't know if anybody's ever found it. Hello, Ori. We do have a final two. Me and you, Spooky. We're going to the end. It's your birthday song. It isn't very long. Let's see, where were we? I don't understand how you don't want Rubina to go, but you do zero campaigning for her to be on the block, and just unnecessarily blow up your spot. Dr. Umar, I think I'm saying that right, maybe not. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you, right? They did nothing with their information, and I really think they could have kept Rubina off the block, gotten Leah up there, had their cake and eaten it too, stayed in the shadows, be good with the collective, be good with Tucker and Rubina, and MJ or Leah would have been the one to leave. But instead, they blew up their whole spot. And while it's not a good game move, I'm kind of happy it happened that way, right? Same thing with Quinn, right? Quinn could have done things so much differently, but he didn't. And because of the sloppy nature of his play, we ended up where we were, and I'm happy that happened. You could say the same thing with Chelsea, right? We were just talking about how Chelsea was getting information from Brooklyn about 5 points. Did any of them do anything about it this week? No. And it ends up where we are, where Cedric got evicted. So all of them were making such mistakes, but they were making moves. And at the end of the day, I will take people making moves that are terrible than people just being, a table in the house. There's a side table that, use a coaster, please. You don't want to leave a ring on them when you're putting your drink down. But these house guests, they're not just furniture in the house. They're making moves. They're doing things. Are some of them, laying back? Sure. But things are happening. The game is moving. It's not stagnant. And it's been a lot of fun. I've been loving it. Leah just plays dumb. She is smarter than MJ. MJ can't keep her mouth shut. Maybe. Potentially. Good morning, Ori and everyone. Who won HOH? Sherry, it was Tucker. I just realized I actually don't have that up on the screen. Tucker won HOH. Wild wall competition. We didn't get to see the actual end of it, but man, it was good. Where are we at here? Totally lost my spot. We're gonna jump down. We're gonna jump down as I see Stin talking about Ori Stream's patented logo. On the hunt for the egg. I'm always cleaning while I'm listening. There is a little Easter egg. There's a little Easter egg somewhere on the screen there. It's one of those things where when you see it, you can't unsee it, I don't think. But it doesn't jump out right away. I think I actually hit it pretty well. Like it's visible. It's there. But if you didn't know, I'll give you this, it fits in well. Where I put this Easter egg, it looks like it belongs. It doesn't look out of place. The pumpkin on the lower left side. There's a pumpkin? No pumpkin. Those are just pillows. Those are just pillows. Tucker won. He slept in HOH. He did. And Rubina was up there for a bit until she ended up kind of having almost like a little existential crisis where she was staring at the memory wall there. Cedric was a big loss. I feel like he brought great energy. I'm with you, George. I liked Cedric a lot. I drafted Cedric in our draft. So I'm not doing great. I'm not doing great this season on my picks. I think Quinn should be lower because Tucker is definitely going to target him. Plus, no one really trusts him. So spooky. That's the thing. Tucker's already talked about going after Brooklyn as his target this week. And the reason why I have him so high on that side is, despite everything that happened, Joseph still wants to look out for Quinn. Chemo and T-Core still want to look out for Quinn. Everybody else is, any of them can go. But the way Tucker's pushing the narrative right now, he doesn't see Quinn as the biggest target anymore. He's looking at Brooklyn as the brains and kind of the mastermind behind the Pentagon and the Collective, and Cam is their muscle. So he would rather go after them before Quinn because he feels like after they're gone, Quinn's kind of on his own. Meanwhile, you have people on that side with Tucker who are trying to look after Quinn and Chelsea the best that they can and would rather them stay around more than Cam and Brooklyn. So it's really kind of been interesting. It's been a wild time in the house. Everything's blown up after yesterday's eviction. I wonder what the deal Tucker tried to give Quinn was. I'm with you, T-Gold. I'm interested to see that too. Apparently, he turned down a deal like last second before they tilted again, and on that tilt is when Quinn dropped. So it would have been interesting. And hey, who's to say that they would have stuck to whatever the deal was? But still, I'm interested to see what it was. Oh, did Mo and Stephanie both, I think, got it there right at the same time. I think Mo on my screen came up first. Ainsley in the fish tank. If you look just below Mackenzie, Ainsley is in the fish tank. Stin got it too. Ori, who are you rooting for? Nanny, I'm scared to say because I've been a jinx. I've talked up Quinn. I've talked up Brooklyn. I talked up Cedric, even Chelsea. Tucker I've talked up. He's the only one who seems a little bit immune to the Ori jinx. But yeah, I stuck a little Ainsley in the fish tank, and it feels like it fits. Doesn't that look like it just belongs in the fish tank? I was actually pretty proud when I got that thing to fit in there. It's in the tank on the left side, right? Yep. Just below MJ, right in the corner there. Little Ainsley Easter egg. Clock that, Ori, couldn't fool me. Saw it a few days ago. You should have said something, Sultan. I don't think you guys realize how many times I'll like do something in the video, and in my head I was like, yeah, that was clever. That was clever. And then nobody says a word, and I'm like, man, I was so proud in that moment. I was so like, when I came up with that, I was so proud, and then nobody's ever said anything. Ainsley in the fish tank. You guys are all seeing it now. Who is the pink and the white? Pink and the white. Leah? You mean Leah? I see Ainsley in the fish tank, the fish egg. Yep, the fish Easter egg, Norma. The alien looking thing in the fish tank. Brooklyn is getting messy. A bit, right? She's getting messy a little bit. And I think one of the big things was, right, she took the information for 5 points. She probably should have kept that secret, but she told it to Chelsea, and then they never did anything with it, right? They never went to T-Core and Chemo to try and like lock them back in to make sure they were good, make sure like everything was still okay and they weren't drifted over to that side, which again is just part of everyone having information in the house and then not doing anything with it, not capitalizing on it. Or if they do, end up doing it in the wrong way where it ends up being worse for them in the long run. Is that Ainsley chilling in the fish tank? Are those swim shorts? You know what? Now that you say it, they do kind of look like swim shorts sitting there on that little step. Angela should have made her birthday cake when they gave it to her early. They knew she wasn't going far in that wall comp. Allie, you might be on to something. Because her actual birthday's tomorrow, right? It's the 17th, I think. And they gave it to her like way early. Allie, that might be the only conspiracy theory that I've heard of a Big Brother season that like that's not even a conspiracy. I'm believing that's fact. I'm believing that is fact. They were like, yo, we're making the people who fall off the wall the have-nots. It's gonna be her birthday. Let's give it to her. That is 100% what happened. Because I wondered why they gave it to her so early. That makes all the sense in the world. Spooky coming on in, hitting that sub button. We now have a secret alliance. Thank you for coming on in, hitting that sub button. I appreciate it. Wow, Allie, that was a good catch. I didn't even think of that. That's 100% what happened. How can Chemo, T-Core, and Joseph be looking out for Quinn if they made his enemy more powerful? That's XOXO. I'm with you. I fully understand what you're saying. That said, it's what they want to do. It doesn't make any sense. T-Core even told Cam, when Cam came and told her, he's like, yeah, we're not mad. And she's like, I want to make sure to protect you guys. I'm trying to look out for you guys. After you just blew up our whole spot? Like it's wild that they actually think that's a possibility. And if I'm Quinn, I'm never trusting it. But at this point, you always you go along with it and you pick your spot to be able to stick the knife in their back. But you just go along with it, right? Like, hey, you know, want to look out for me? Cool. I thought something was off about the fish tank before you said anything, but I wasn't sure. I think Brooklyn, Cam, and Quinn are going to be on the block. Quinn is the pawn this week. Yeah, so that's the plan as of right now. Brooklyn, Cam, and Quinn. And Tucker even planning to pull Quinn down if he has the option. He wants to make sure Quinn stays this week and Brooklyn or Cam are the one to go. It could end up where we see a Brooklyn, Cam, Chelsea nomination block this week going into AI Arena. And Quinn could be safe. That is 100% a possibility. It's wild. You wouldn't think it, but that could be what we're heading for. Last night, Brooklyn spiraled. But Heather, wouldn't you? If you just told Rubina goodbye, and then not a minute later, you're blindsided and she's still in the house, wouldn't you be spiraling too? Oh, Angela as a have-not equal tired and hungry Angela. Feeds will be good this week. Don't forget, it's her birthday and she can't eat cake. Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun week with Angela. Let's see. That's why the feed's cut. It's a joke. Anyone want cake? Could we get an Angela birthday fight? Could we get that? They gave her the cake a week early. Whoa, what? I thought we had a secret. We do. Congrats on 13K. I appreciate it. Where was I? Angie conspiracy theory is awesome. Another Keisha birthday. Brilliant thinking. I'm sorry. I don't like T-Core and Chemo. They're just so indecisive. I made the comparison to, if anybody's ever watched The Good Place, to Chidi on The Good Place. He's this guy who just cannot make a decision. No matter how simple it is, he will struggle with every minor decision. Do I go left? Do I go right? Maybe I go straight. Maybe I'll go back home. Oh, there's so many options. I can't decide which, and it's insufferable. Like he is the worst best person you're ever gonna meet. Like he's a great character, but he's written literally perfectly to be the best worst person ever. And that's kind of what Chemo and T-Car, Chemo and T-Core are to me. They're like the best worst people ever. They're always talking and whispering and coming up with plans, but they never decide on anything. And it's like it's insufferable. It's so infuriating watching them. All my favorite podcasters have blown up on subs this year, including Ori. Love to hear it. There's a strong YouTube Big Brother community. Lots of great people coming up too. I love checking out like all the people who are just kind of starting up. There's a lot of great ones too. Some of them even stop by and chat and stuff like that. And I love seeing it grow more and more. I think I was going to say something. Maybe I shouldn't. I think maybe the hierarchy of the Big Brother YouTube needs to change a little bit. Maybe some people are been at the top a little too long. Maybe some things need to change. Jamie coming on in, hitting that sub button. Thank you so much. We now have a secret alliance. Shh. Do not tell anybody. Do not tell anybody. Where were we here? Any theories on the equations on the on or in the fish tank? I don't think they mean anything, but man, would it be cool if they did? And I think that's one of the things that Big Brother misses out on the most. You have this house, which almost is another character on the show. You can make it be more important. And I feel like if you have little things like that for them to figure out, maybe the equations on the wall led to, a message that says, go check the hammock. And then by the hammock, there's like another little clue that says, go check in the have-not room by the third bed on the left or something like that. And then there's a secret room or power or whatever, right? You have this ability. It just feels like they never capitalize on that. And I wish they would. I think it would be more fun. Ooh, Jalen Hurts or Caleb Williams. I gotta go Jalen. But Caleb's in a great position with the Bears. I don't know if there's ever been a rookie QB being dropped into a better position to start their career. Wide receivers, incredible. Also with a fellow rookie in Roma Dunze. Their defense, incredible. Running back, they got Devontae Swift, the Philly guy. He's incredible as well. Their O-line's pretty decent. The Bears could be a thing. They just need Caleb to produce, right? If Caleb can even just be somewhat productive, they could be a threat in the NFC. I think past Big Brother player is gonna host a veto. Ooh, maybe. Oh, equitable comps. I did want to talk about equitable comps. So this is where I think I have a little bit of a different take on it, a little bit of a different thought than some other people do at the moment. What do we got coming on here? Olivia coming on in with a super chat. Hello, everyone. Just showing the love. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for that super chat. Very, 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 very kind of you to do that. No need ever to do that. Even just a simple like on the video is just so much support that you guys don't even know how much that helps the channel. But all those little things do as well. We also have things like the Ori Fund. You can join the channel as well if you want to support more. But even just hitting that like button, that simple like button, is a huge help. So equitable comps. First off, yes, it is always better if competitions do have more of a fairness to them where anyone can win. 100%. It just makes the game more interesting if you go into a competition and you don't immediately go, well, this person's out, and this person's out. And while I think they did do some comps where it definitely felt like, yeah, they changed it up. For example, the veto that Tucker won with the vine that they had to move around. In previous seasons, that would have been timed and precision, where every time you hit a vine, it would have added a time penalty on or something like that. This year, they made it all about precision, which I think is much better and much more equitable and fair of a competition, because it meant like, hey, it's not about speed. It's just about doing the best job. And one of the things we're seeing, though, now with this year is Tucker's still winning a lot of competitions, right? Like, he's still doing really well. And people in my last video, a lot of the comments were saying, well, like, oh, Angela won 2 HOHs. It's like, okay, which 2 HOHs did she win, right? She won the knockout competition, which was, what's the difference in these pictures, which they've done a million times before, and there was nothing different about that competition than any other competition that we've ever had in Big Brother history like that. There was nothing more equitable about that competition than any other. We then also had the shuffleboard competition that she won the very first week. I do love the way they did that competition, though. I love the social aspect to it. I thought that was really an interesting twist to it. But you could make the argument by adding that social element to a crapshoot comp like that, you actually made it less equitable. Especially if that wasn't the first HOH competition. If that was like a week 4 HOH, whoever the majority alliance is, they can game the system and have the numbers to, it doesn't matter what groups are which, and you can pretty much take out the people who are the outcast. So while yes, I did love the change up in the competition, I thought it was cool, I do not think that made that competition any more equitable than we've had before. What do we got there? Rhonda coming on in with a super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I don't think those 2 HOHs were any more equitable than any other competition we've ever had. I think really the only competition that I could say is full on like, oh yeah, that was different, was that veto, which Tucker won. Even the veto with the glass steps, I think that one still had an edge to someone like Tucker, to someone like Cedric, or even MJ, someone who's going to be faster. Because at the end of the day, that competition was about memory, but if you're faster, you could get more tries in. You could just keep trying and keep repeating until you got it right. So while it was less physical and had the memory aspect, if you're just a faster person, you're going to do better at that competition. It wasn't any more equitable than anything else. So I feel like we've actually been giving like a lot of love to be like, oh, these competitions are super equitable this season. Are they that different? Right? And again, maybe I'm kind of wrong, right? But I feel like it was just as much the same. On that note, I mentioned this last year as well. What do we got there? I'm going to struggle with that name. Tiny? Maybe? I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Thank you so much for the super chat. Go Tucker. I appreciate it so much. I talked about it last year when this kind of conversation came up because Jag was dominating. Yeah, I think there was an issue with competitions last year, right? A lot of them had a mental aspect to it, but also this big like physical run around and get the info first before you solved whatever the puzzle was, right? And it did make it so that it felt like, yeah, Felicia's not winning this competition, right? There's nothing for her to do. She's not going to beat any of these other people in a competition where you got to run around and find the answers first, right? It just doesn't matter. And I feel like a lot of people felt like this was a long-standing issue, which I'm still not 100% convinced it was a long-standing issue. I think at the end of the day, there's just always going to be people that are at a higher level for competitions, right? This season, it's Tucker. Last season, you had Jag, but also Heisem was in that category as well. I think Heisem, you put him in competitions this year, he's winning just as many. I think Tucker, you put him in competitions last year, he's winning just as many, right? If you swap him out for Jag, Tucker's dominating. I feel like, Michael was in that category too, of just people who are better at competitions. Janelle, Casey, this isn't a thing that's like all of a sudden new. There's always been people who are just better at competitions, no matter what the competition itself is. And I think we got a bit more of a spotlight on it last season with BB25, because I think they were actually just trying to listen to us, the fans, of like, hey, why don't you guys try a little bit harder with your competitions, right? It felt like what they started to do a lot was they would just have like a sheet they would put down on the ground, and then these little like cut out like cardboard things for the competition, and that was it. Like, it was like no other extra effort put into it. But BB25, they started to kind of step it up, right? We had a lot of really cool and different things, like the Scary Verse competition where they were on the street, right? That was a little bit special because of the writer's strike and things like that. But overall, I think they were just trying to do something good by stepping the game up of the competitions. They just went in a bad direction where they added too much of a physical element to more of the competitions. This year, it feels like they've continued that step up in, trying to do bigger, better things visually for the competitions. All of the comps this year have looked really cool. They don't look super cheap. It feels like they're putting an effort into making it look decent, right? And it does feel like they are still doing a lot of the staple competitions from Big Brother, right? Like, almost none of these comps are completely new and out of nowhere. A lot of them have, been used in the past, and they have like little twists on them. But are any of them really that much more equitable or different? I'm not 100% sure. What we really need, and I've said this for a while, it's a project though. We need to go through every single competition, every single season, and kind of define like, all right, yeah, this one's kind of a really physical competition where it's not that equitable. This one's more of a very fair competition that anyone could win. And I'd love to see the statistics of all of it, because I'm sure there are some seasons where, yeah, the competitions just were a little bit more unfair. Some seasons, I bet there are way more fair competitions. But at the end of the day, I bet what we'll also find is there's going to be just a lot of times where there's someone like a Tucker on a season who is just going to win more competitions because they're better at them. They're just better competitors. They're able to focus more, and that's a huge thing in a lot of these comps, right? T-Core is actually one thing that T-Core you can never say is wrong about Big Brother. The puzzles aren't that hard. It's more about keeping your cool and your focus and getting it done, right? They're not like hour-long puzzles. They're designed to be done quickly. People like Tucker are just better at keeping their cool. And Frederick says it. Tucker likes puzzles and he likes biscuits. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like my thoughts on competitions are maybe a little different than the majority of people. And you might disagree on how I'm seeing how the competitions are, and maybe you see them all as like super more equitable and fair. But I don't know. I feel like we need like super deep statistics from over the years of things, because I still feel like at the end of the day, it's all about the people you put in the house, right? And it's hard when you add in people throwing competitions to judge how fair they were. It's hard when you have things like the veto competition where I know like a big thing is always like, oh, there's more men that win competitions over women. Well, what are the veto picks like? I'd love to see the statistics on how often men are picked in veto competitions over women. Maybe that's a big thing where it's like, hey, we look at the picks, and 75% of the time a man will get picked over a woman in the veto competition, meaning that less women are competing in comps, and that's why they're not winning as much. But I don't know that for sure because I don't know the statistics. Like I said, this would be a very long and hard job. Maybe we do it during the off season and we just kind of go through and we try and get all this info, because I think it would be really fascinating to look and see the trends over time of what's changed, what's stayed the same, and really see like what we could do moving forward. Because at the end of the day, though, I do think they're making the right steps with the competitions, right? I don't think there's been anything wrong with them necessarily. I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like people are like, oh yeah, these are way more fair and balanced, but it's like, are they? I'm not 100% sure they are. I don't know. Let's catch up with the chat here again. Where are we at? I did this. The study is done, and I'm making a video on it. Oh, you have? It probably was a lot of work. It probably was a lot of work. And I'd be fascinated to see all that info and whenever the video comes out. Tucker knows he's the biggest competitor, and we'll get him out. Who's that? Quinn? Because that's the thing. He's not looking at Quinn anymore. Everyone has a chance. Well, and that's the thing. I'm totally... I do like competitions where everybody has a chance. But at the same time, does everybody have a chance in the wall competition? Like, did Angela have a chance in this wall competition? Easy question. Did she have a chance to win this? The answer is no. But does that mean we should get rid of the wall competition and make it so that she does have a chance and make it super easy? No. Right? Just because, like, not every competition needs to be fair. I don't think we should get rid of those physical competitions completely. I think they should stay. I think there should also be competitions that are very hard mental puzzles, right? They shouldn't be easy puzzles. They should only be able to be completed by somebody who's actually smart and good at puzzles. Like the challenge. I think the challenge does great puzzles. They'll do like a full Sudoku. They'll have like these like crazy weird like balance puzzles where it's like you could only finish it by putting them in the right position. Like I feel like the challenge does puzzles like that are hard. We don't really see those on Big Brother. I'd like to see a competition like that. Just because it adds more of a dynamic to who that HOH is going to be that week and can give people who normally wouldn't have a great shot at beating somebody in a physical competition a shot at winning this one. I do think most of the competition should be a crapshoot, though. When you're going into them, you shouldn't really be able to know. At the same time, though, yeah, let's have a physical endurance competition where you go in and, all right, it's going to be, a tough battle here. And someone's going to have to really dig down deep if they want to win this HOH. And there's going to be people that aren't going to be able to win that competition. And I think that's okay sometimes. You don't want every competition like that. But I don't want to see them just get rid of some of our favorite challenges just to make them fair, right? Like I feel like there should be some comps like that. Where are we at here? Tucker has loyal allies. He might stay for a while. He could. I don't like only HOH picking the POV players. And right, that's the thing too. There's only 2 people that are being picked every week. That takes down your numbers depending on who's getting nominated and things like that, right? All that stuff kind of goes into the stats of everything. And I feel like you could go really deep. I did not do the veto pick part of it, though. See, that's what I'm saying, right? You can go really deep with this, and there's a lot of factors that go into it, right? I don't know. Did you take into account people who, like, said they threw? You can't always judge that because a lot of people just lose, and after the fact, they say they threw it. But, like, throwing competitions, right? I feel like you have to kind of factor that in a little bit. At the very least, you have to consider that as like a plus minus to the actual statistic of like, hey, there's a plus minus of maybe like 1% here because of people throwing competitions, right? I feel like that's a thing that you would almost need to include, right? But it really is. It's a project. It is a deep dive into it. Please stop with the Gen Z terminology, like to just use a new word meaning the same thing, equitable, fair, and balanced. I don't know if it's Gen Z thing. I just think equitable is a word that people use. It's maybe like an SAT word. But it is what people have been saying. But yeah, fair, balanced, right? At the end of the day, like, should comps be that way? Yes, there should be more comps that anyone can win. But, like, I don't want to see the wall competition go anywhere, right? And, like, I don't necessarily want everything to be completely fair, right? Like, I want to see a comp where it's like, yeah, if you're the strongest person in the house, you probably do have an advantage in this one comp. Sure. If you're the smartest person in the house, I also want you to have an advantage in one comp, right? I think those are things that should stay. If you're the lightest person, right? We used to get that with the wall. Wall competitions actually have changed up a little bit. The smallest people used to be the one to hang up on the wall the most. Now it's end up being more of like the strong, guys who are doing it. And that's another thing where it's like, hey, I'd like to look at the stats about that. Is it just when they added the handholds? Is it, a change in something else that's making that happen? I'm not sure. Because going into the wall competition, right? Like in previous years, other than like the past like 5, I'd say the front runners in the wall competition would have been people like maybe MJ, Quinn, even Rubina, right? Takur, I felt like could have been somebody, who's doesn't have like a lot of weight on them that has to hold themselves up, and they could hold themselves up for longer. But it seems like that trend has kind of changed, and more guys are winning the wall competition. I'd be interested to kind of see the stats on why, and maybe trying to figure that out. But like I said, it's a deep dive. It's a deep dive. Though I do like they pick for noms, names. They get to pick the player. Yeah, so if they get to pick themselves, they get to pick. I also really like the HOH not competing. It's something that BB Can started to do. And once they added that in, when the HOH doesn't compete in the veto, it tends to make the veto get used more. Usually people are either, just doing what the HOH wants, but there's something about like not having them compete, which even more kind of lets people go like, yeah, you know what? Like, why am I just doing what the HOH wants? Right. And it gives more of a shot to the nominees being able to win and take themselves off. Does it kind of stink as the HOH you don't get to like defend your nominations? Yeah. But I take that over having it be more dynamic in the game where the veto's used more. Because for the most part, veto, like, just a lot of times doesn't get used because they just want to keep it the same and do what the HOH wants. I like the spinning, bowling competition. Would love to see Angela do that, right? Bowlerama. Bowlerama is a competition where you could say you do have a little bit of a physical advantage if you are someone who is a stronger, more athletic person. Do we want to see Bowlerama go away? No, because it's kind of fun watching them spin around like that, right? It's fun to have those competitions in there, and I don't think everything needs to be super fair and balanced. Just for the most part, leans that way. Where are we at here? After Cedar spinning the upgrade challenge, it would be hilarious. It took since midway through last season till about a week ago. Oh, going through everything? Oh, I would imagine it would. It, like I said, even the thought of like doing it, I was like, that is a process. She's gonna blame Matt for falling off the wall. Angela's fall was freaking gold medal. Or do you think Tucker is amongst the best competitors all time, or is he just with the right cast? That's another thing, right, Soldier? You can't necessarily always judge each cast equally, right? If Heisem would have stayed in BB25 longer, would Jag have been the comp beast that he was? We don't know. He got pretty lucky losing Heisem that quickly. Same thing with Tucker, right? Is he just the best competitor ever, or is he just competing in more things because he's putting himself in there and betting on himself? I do think he's an upper level of a competitor, right? Is he the best of all time? I don't know. There's a lot of season left to play. Could he establish himself as that? He could, right? He's on pace to. But yeah, being on the right cast is a huge thing. Just being on the right cast in general is a huge thing. I was actually thinking about because one of the things I want to do is more like videos on the channel, like not just in-season stuff, but talking about past seasons. And one of the things I was thinking about was like doing like a winners ranking. And with it, I think a big criteria for me on how good of a winner is how likely they would be if you took them and they never played on that season and you put them for the first time playing on a completely different cast with a completely different season, how likely they would be to win that season as well. And I feel like that is something that I would really want to consider in my ranking on how great somebody is. Cause like just putting it out there, right? Like if you're a BB Can fan, a lot of people love Kevin Jacobs. I feel like he had the best cast for his situation, right? I feel like you put him on any other season, he's not going to do as well. I think he got really lucky with the type of people he was with and with the situations he ended up with to be able to position. Does that mean he could never win another season? No. I just think he ended up with a cast that liked to take shots at their allies that was against their best interest. And I think you could say that about whoever wins this season, right? There's so many people making messy gameplays early on that were actually probably against their own interest that whoever probably wins, right? You maybe could say that about them, that they got a little bit lucky with this season. But again, that's why Big Brother is not this like X's and O's, just if you do this, this, and this, you're going to win Big Brother. It's all about playing to your cast, playing to your season, playing to the situation you're in at the time, and going from there. It's why I'm actually kind of fascinated to see where Quinn goes from here. Because Quinn, in all things considered, should be leaving this week, right? But it seems like they're now actually looking at him not as a target. Can he build from this now? Can he reestablish himself in the house? If he can do that, he's as good as a player as he thought he was. This could be a slap in his face that he completely turns his game around and maybe he's able to do something. But maybe not, right? Because I look at a guy like Dan. His first season, he's on the block week 1. Week 1, Dan was nominated. And what did he do after that? He completely turned things around and was able to adapt to his situation and find a way to win through the madness that was that house. Those are the type of players that I think are the best. Not someone who just, had a lot of things happen for them and, things did go their way and they made it to the end and maybe it was fun the way they did it, right? For example, if Tucker were to win this season, right? If the season ended tomorrow, we would maybe say, like, you know what? He probably wasn't the best winner ever, but he was the most exciting winner ever. He was very entertaining. But I don't know if you would put him as like the best winner ever because it's like, he doesn't have all the tools, right? Like there were a lot of things he did that probably weren't ideal, but he was really fun. And I think both of those are valid, right? Like you can love a winner for being fun, you can love a winner for being good, and they all have different values. But yeah, it's interesting. Kind of went on a little tangent there. I don't know. It was like a calm Ori rant where it just kind of going through my head. Let's see where we're at. Apparently he's targeting Brooklyn. Yeah, that seems to be what Tucker's doing. And saving Quinn potentially. Tucker make one wrong move. He's going out like Michael, 100%, right? He needs to win out. He's going to have that target on him throughout. Where were we here? Glad I didn't see MJ or Leah's name. Tucker could flame out like my Orioles or Ori's Phillies from last year's MLB playoffs. Don't say it, Frederick. Even this year, they're struggling. Phillies need to go. Let's go, Mets. They do need to step it up here. They do need to step it up here. If they're smart players, they should get Tucker out 100%, right? Like you can't let Tucker slide to the end because if he gets to the point where he just starts racking up more of these competition wins, it's going to be hard to get him out. Paul stayed on the block his first season, right? Same thing, right? Where people who are able to come back from adversity, I always kind of find their stories and their winning path a little bit more interesting. Hi Ori in chat. Is the Easter egg the AI bot in the fish tank lower left hand? It is, Susan. You found it. If Cedric was playing smart, he would have gotten rid of Quinn out. And that's the thing too, right? It's almost poetic that Cedric gets taken out on the power that Tucker tried to get him to get out of the house. It's almost poetic. 5th HOH curse incoming. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I did see Ethan Mail put out a video on the HOH curse. I haven't watched it yet, but I bet it's good. Do you think Tucker goes home next week? I don't know. It all depends on who wins, right? And I think if Quinn would win HOH, I think he would take that shot at Tucker, right? I think if Cam, Brooklyn, Chelsea, but I don't know if anybody else does right now. I don't know if they take that shot. I don't know if they do. Horatio and Tucker's battles would be great. Oh, on the challenge. We didn't talk about the challenge 40. Let's talk about the challenge 40 before we wrap things up for the day. Just first episode of challenge 40, I loved it. I thought it was great. I love the whole thing with the eras. The teams really feel like they do represent different eras of the game, and when new blood kind of came in, you got the OGs from the first era, like CT, Derek, Mark, Brad, Darrell, Anissa. You got that second crop of people who came in, like Johnny Bananas. Who else is on that? Is Laurel on that team? Emily. A lot of great competitors. Then you've got kind of like that new generation, right? With people like Devin and Corey. And then you've got like the newest era, which has like a lot of the BB people, like Casey. It's got Josh, Michelle from Survivor, and like all of these newer people who are kind of coming into the game. And I just love the visuals of the first episode. They were doing that big swim at night with all the lights and the big puzzle as well. Tucker needs to get on the challenge. Tucker's going to do so well on the challenge, guys. Let me tell you. And then I really like how they're doing this like massive elimination, right? So like almost half of the people in the game are going to be in an elimination on the next episode. So I really like what they're doing with the season so far. A lot of great names on it. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I'm probably not going to do videos on it, but we would definitely talk about it each Friday if you guys are keeping up with it. We could talk about the challenge. Yeah, Nani, I didn't want to get too much into like spoilers because I didn't say I was going to talk about it, but going forward on the Friday morning chats, I'd love to talk about that more. Also, Wes is not on it, Mab. Or MAB, not sure how you would want to go by. He's not on it, but you know what he is going to be on, and I'm not sure when this starts, but when it does, we'll talk about it. House of Villains season 2, and on House of Villains season 2, not only do you have Wes, you also have Mr. Spectacular Jesse, and you also have probably the OG, the godfather of reality television, Richard Hatch. So that's going to be really good, and I'm excited to see that. If you haven't seen House of Villains Season 1, I recommend checking it out. Johnny Bananas is on it. Johnny Fairplay's on it. And it's kind of tongue-in-cheek in a lot of the editing of it. Omarosa's on there, and they don't let her get away with nothing. They call Omarosa out. Like, production doesn't let her play her little games that she knows she can do on reality shows. They're like, wait a minute, no. Like, this is what actually happened. Like, you can lie all you want, but we got the footage. So I honestly really like that show. So when that starts up, we'll definitely chat about that too. Tucker's going to break the 5th HOH curse. Hopefully, Eddie. Hopefully. Hope Survivor 50 does something like Challenge 40. That, I think, is kind of the plan right now, right? Is to do just a giant all-star season. I don't like that they have announced it so far ahead. It's like you're giving them two years to kind of pregame. I've also been not happy with most recent seasons of Survivor. Survivor 47 was literally losers at war. I hated that season so much. I couldn't take it. I just could not take that season. But Survivor Australia was so good. If you haven't been watching Survivor Australia, go check it out. And they've been filming 2 seasons this summer. I don't know 100% when they come out, but I'm excited about that. One of the seasons is going to be all newbies, so I'll definitely be checking that out. One of them is going to be Survivor Australia versus Survivor US. That is the season I'm looking forward to the most. I think that's going to be just incredible. So yeah, a lot of good shows, out there. Kaylee, Josh, Rylan, Paulie from BB. Oh yeah, Paulie's on there too. Paulie's on there. I wanted Abram. Abram was a lot of. I always liked Abram. Let's see. House of Villains is amazing. Tucker is an actor. I mean, he's a what do you call it? A model and stuff like that. And I don't think the accent's fake, right? He's always had the accent, but what is different about his voice, I've seen like videos from him not too long ago, his voice, like he did something. I think, maybe similar to what, Janis Joplin was into, right? A little bit of cigarettes, a little bit of alcohol. You go on that a little bit too hard, your voice going to get a little raspy. You know what I'm saying? Younger Tucker had a much different voice than he does currently. And I think that's kind of what it is. Hatch, if you win, pay your taxes. Tucker also has a fake accent. When does the second one start? I don't know when season 2 starts, but I think it's soon. I think it's coming out soon. You didn't like... Oh my god, I hated Q. I hated Q. If you notice, he goes into a lot of different characters, and he can do voices. The old are going out and the younger people are coming in. Tucker is always showcasing himself. And well, that's the thing too. Like, nobody said last night to Cam, and I kind of love him for this, right? He's like, you know what this is to me? It's WWE, right? Like, he really feels like he's putting on a show in there, which, if we're being honest, you know what was one of the most entertaining things to watch? Dr. Will, when he went in to All-Stars just to put on a show, right? That is when Big Brother is at the most fun, is when people are going in there, not taking it too seriously and just doing what they feel is right. And I don't know, I kind of love it. Even if it's a little bit, of an act, it's been fun to watch. So is Quinn not going to count as 5th HOH? This is where the twists are confusing me. I guess technically he's the 4th, right? Because he took over the 4th, even though he would be like the 5th person to be an HOH. It's probably like very similar to Doctor Who, where it's like, when David Tennant came back to be Doctor Who, like, is he the 13th Doctor, the 14th Doctor? I don't even know at this point. I stopped watching Doctor Who after what's his face left. The guy's on House of Dragons. It's probably similar to something like that. Tucker is supposed to be supposedly friends with Vanderpump's Rule guy. Oh, is Tom the guy who's on House of Villains? I think there was a Vanderpump's Rule guy on House of Villains. I think Tucker has a lot of people he's met like through his agent and stuff like that. But like also like I think it's like he says friends as like friends, right? It's like, are they really friends? I don't know. Let's see. It's Australian Survivor versus the World now instead. Either way, still awesome, and I'm excited for that. There's a video of Tucker. He does not. Well, that's the thing. It's old, right? I think he's just messed his voice up. I think Takor is. I don't think she's faking. That's one I don't think is fake at all. Like, that is such a unique, distinct one. I think that's just her. Just pay attention. He's always auditioning. Tucker was in a movie with Colby Summer. Really, was he? Tucker has a god complex for sure. Let's see. Big mistake. Cicada? Is that what the movie's called? It is common knowledge that sadly a lot of models still smoke heavily to stay thin, right? And that's the thing. I think he just kind of messed his voice. He had a channel all about smoking the devil's lettuce and reviewing it. So I feel like not a surprise, not a surprise here. Where else are we at? Quinn wants to have a podcast and be on rap like Corey in America. Oh boy, Quinn, focus on the game, buddy. Focus on the game. I saw him talking about too, like how he's like, oh, it's gonna be so cool, like, talking to house guests and stuff, like alumni. It's like, yeah, that will be cool. Don't worry about it right now. Focus on the game. Focus on the game. Josh is going home this week on the challenge. Maybe. The movie's called Cicada. I'll have to check that out. But, guys, I think that is where we will call it for the day. I have so much fun doing these live streams, hanging out with you guys on the Fridays and even on the Thursdays during the episodes. Once again, if you are new here, every single morning, first thing in the morning, you will get a live feed update. These ones I do every day are live. They're just nice, short, to the point updates on everything you need to know from the live feeds from the night before. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, if you made it all the way to the end of this stream, smash that like button. It's the easiest way to support the channel. Thank you guys all so much for the love and the support you do show me. You can also check out other ways, like checking out my other socials, Twitch, Kick, Twitter, the Discord. We're going to be getting a fantasy football league started. If you're interested in that, hop in the Discord. I'm going to set that all up this weekend so we can get that going. Thank you guys all so much. I do love each and every one of you, and I will see you next time.
It took a full round to come even close to bringing me down. I hope you find it hard to believe that you're not better than me. I hope you find it hard to believe you won't amount to anything. So, like a bow without an arrow, you are useless. Like a bow. I've got it here in days when it would have taken you years. And I'm not ashamed of myself, but you should be, but you should be. I've got it here in days when it would have taken you years. And I'm not ashamed of myself, but you should be, but you should be.